Hey everybody, welcome back to another recap of White Roots here on the Patreon, here on the page.
Yes, with the first 15 minutes on YouTube.
Yes, I know you all are very sticklers with titlings and things, so I'm just going to just title everything from now on the way it's listed in the program, so there's no confusion as to episode numbers on any program that we cover. Good? Good. Anywho, let's dive into episode 503. Remember, the last two episodes were very, very intense. More so 502 than 501. Where Serena gave, the biggest FU to Elizabeth Scientology.
And then they showed it in the recap. And that bitch was like,
Yeah. With the extra clip, because that wasn't it, though. That wasn't it.
I was like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah. So, we're back in present time. So, June is sitting at home in her boots, which, by the way, that was an outfit choice. Choices were made for her to go to the ballet.
She don't care about nothing right now.
I know, but I'm just saying that was, Barack Obama couldn't, be like, girl, the boots aren't, whatever. So she's sitting thinking about her black baby, Hannah, a vision special. She has a lot of visions this season, And she keeps wondering about the color that Hannah was wearing.
We should start calling her That's So June.
That's so Alfred.
It's as awful as can be.
That's so Alfred.
She's gonna get her black baby.
Right. So she keeps wondering about this color that Hannah was wearing because, everything in Gilead is color coded like a red McNally net map. So she was like, what does this purple lavender mean? Is she in recovery? Because, that's what I thought.
I know you.
If you know.
XD is convinced that purple is a recovery color.
It is. Look at pictures of Betty Ford and you tell me what color she
All
was.
right. So what happened next?
So Pusey, because I'm not calling her Moira because there's no black people.
Because
named
why
Moira.
would they name her that in this show? Whose call was that?
Right. And I guess that's from the book, but
let's call her Tisha, so that we don't. What is it? What do actors hate when they get put into one character? What's it called again?
Typecasted.
Typecasted. So let's call her Tisha. That's what her name should have been.
Okay. Well, I don't know, because June don't look like she would have a friend named Tisha.
Yeah, but it's always the bitch named like Latanya, and then she goes to an Ivy League. Her parents are hood, but she made it out.
On a Rhodes Scholar.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you got a white girlfriend who's like, oh yeah, my best friend Tisha.
Yeah. Or Keisha, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So, because June is all upset or whatever, Keisha.
Yeah, there you go. Make Keisha great again. It's not coming with us in the future. We've got to keep things where they are.
Yeah, we have to restore the natural order of things. Bring back Keisha's and Latoya's.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Name all of us. Middle name's Nicole. You know what I'm saying?
So, Keisha was holding out on them about this refugee group down at the border that can send messages back and forth.
It's not funny.
And that's so Alfred is like,
what
bitch, why didn't you tell me?
Bitch, how long you known this? She's like, the whole time. She's like, I wasn't telling your ass nothing. You lost it. You motherfucking lost it. You gonna ruin shit. So I wasn't telling you shit. You wasn't in your right mind, bitch. And I don't feel bad.
Because she goes so damn rogue, and it's like, and as we see why they ain't tell her shit, because she ends, well, you'll see as we go on this journey, right? So we learn that it's a no penis allowed, well, no men allowed thing. Mm-hmm. Understandable, because it's literally women helping women get out of this horrible situation out of Gilead. I can't imagine why there would be men there.
Yeah, like we can't because we see what happened when a nigga rolled up.
Yeah.
I was washing dishes, watching. I was like,
Connor was shook.
Okay, he's like, "Goddamn, bitch, I'm on the right side of things, but I'm getting out of here."
Right. So, Poussey, Keisha, and That's So Offred get in the avalanche and ride up to this border where they meet this lady.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super, super powerful in this moment, because normally I take this show at, with a grain of salt. But I was like, they were doing some acting down in this episode.
Well, I'm going to tell you why it's a little more impactful this go around. Or all the go rounds. Obviously, women are not respected, period, worldwide. We see the direction that this country is going in, and we see what's happening also in Iran and Iran. I'm saying it right. Iran. And how, I don't want to sound like a Bush. And if we look at history, how literally 50 years ago is when their revolution happened. And before that, before niggas came and ruined shit, they were free women. They dressed how they wanted. They had a good time. They were members of society. And then their revolution happened, and that's when the hijabs came into place, freedoms were taken away, and we see what the direction that is happening in this country with that. And so that's why this was even more impactful during this time. But continue on.
Right. So they meet up with this woman at the border. I didn't catch her name.
I didn't remember.
But this is like the main leader of the efforts to go back. She's like the liaison between the refugee rogue baddies and the people in USA, Canada.
Thought it was June Tubman. It's actually this bitch. Yeah. She's still doing the work.
Exactly, because June just left. And,
June said, Canada, I held thee. Maple syrup.
Okay. I ain't marching for nobody. So, the lady was like, because they were just like, who the fuck are you? And she was like, actually, June, you saved me and a whole bunch of kids. So in season 3,
yes,
is when they had this whole exchange program when they got the all the people that killed Commander Waterford were exchanged and got out. Out of like a government type of exchange thing. Mm-hmm. And so June led that charge. So they end up going further into the woods, but we'll get back to them in a minute. So, back in hell, Serena and Mark Tuello are discussing things. It's after the fume, the spectacle. And Mark Tuello acknowledges that this was a production that you put on and that you sent a message.
And she
like
goes,
he wasn't...
I want to put on for my city, but also... Because he goes... They continue to talk.
Yeah. Now... I know in our Patreon, a lot of you, or Discord, have discussed that Serena and Mark Tuello, like that's Mark Tuello's baby.
Remember I asked you if they had a thing.
I don't remember that, but like you, I've tried to block out a lot of this show.
I think we would remember a Mark Tuello and Serena sex scene, but I do remember that they have had an interesting dynamic, tension, and energy between the two of them since they came into contact.
Yeah, because Serena, while they chat, and Serena's like, you need to leave because the Martha's about to come in and I don't want them to get any ideas that there's some hootenanny going on.
Some fornicating.
Yeah, some fucking. So the back to the refugee mission. So June Poussey and this other lady that I don't, refugee queen number 1. I don't know. We need to. Why didn't they didn't even put her name in the closed caption? Because I watched this in closed caption because the whole show was dark and quiet. So I have to turn the brightness up all the way up on my television.
All the fucking way. I told you, everything is dark. Everything.
Yeah, everything is dark. It's so quiet. My TV's on 50, and because I'd be like, damn, am I like losing my senses or something?
Yeah,
but
they make you feel like that when you're watching Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, and I get it for effect, but damn. It's bright in Canada. Shit.
Right. They got sun and it gleams off the snow. So what are y'all doing?
Make it happen. So they go out and drive out. They get in the Pontiac Avalanche. And they ride out to like the deep, deep woods where like. Have you ever heard of the game Far Cry?
No, but that sounds like something niggas shouldn't play.
You're right. Because in one of the, except for Far Cry 6, Giancarlo Esposito's in it, and he plays like the president of like Cuba.
Wait, this is a movie? It's not a video game?
It's a video game, but they got actors in video games.
Oh, that's true. They do the voices and shit.
Mm-hmm. But in Far Cry 5, it's set in like rural Montana, and it's about a cult leader. So like, yeah, it's really like some gather your guns and blah blah blah, like all of that kind of, That's where it looks like they travel to, deep in the sticks, where hillbillies about. They spell their names with numbers, like it's a lot,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when they get to the cabin, they realize it's a network of all the baddies they've helped out along the way.
Who are continuing to do the work.
Mm-hmm. This Operation Mayday, which is super dangerous, necessary, but dangerous, of getting handmaids and other folks from Gilead to this free territory and all the way to so they can seek asylum in America, Canada.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know why they don't talk about that often, America, Canada, because it's like, because they're like the Americans of Canada. It's like, but there is no more America.
No,
it's like
I think
the people that live.
I think, like, you remember when all them white women was standing in front of niggas in Portland? I think that it's like that, maybe, like some. Because remember when they were in Chicago, was Chicago considered part of Gilead or?
It was Gilead, because remember that's when we lost Janine. Because remember that's when
that's true.
Yeah, they had to hide out, and they had the guy who was trying to take advantage of Janine, but that was all in Chicago, and they got captured.
Well, I think like certain states are still considered America, and they're not a part of Gilead. Like once shit was finalized and all that. That's what I'm gathering from them referencing America or Americans. I feel like certain states were sanctioned as Gilead, and then other ones were considered,
American territory.
Yeah.
Got it.
I just don't know what that is specifically.
Right. Well, June sees the work that Mayday is doing, and she feels validated. She's like, yes, we are doing the work. Yes, women, all that.
Okay, girl.
Right. So,
Let's see that.
Anywho, back in Gilead, Serena goes to congenial white commander's house, Lawrence. And of course, Mark Tuello has to stay outside because, he's Canadian.
Yeah, they'd be like, you're not well. Okay.
Right. See, I was trying to Google the maps for Gilead, and maybe I have to actually read the book to make more sense of it. Excuse me.
You all right? So, the two states. While the novel does not elaborate on the status of the United States beyond it being the precursor to Gilead, the television series establishes that the United States still exists with the control of only two states, which are stated to be Alaska and Hawaii.
So America lost control of the continental U.S.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. And it turned into Gilead. All right.
And it was...
Because if you even look at some of the maps, because remember they talked in this season how there was a strip of land that's like, where they killed Fred, this weird space that they don't occupy.
Okay, hold on. In season 4, it is mentioned that Gilead is once on the verge of finally taking Chicago. That's why I was confused as to if Chicago was a part. But the city appears to have not been annexed, and its spirit remains intact for now.
Okay. Well, back to Gilead, right? Mm-hmm. So they overgo to Commander Lawrence's house, and Commander McKenzie is there. Now, if you don't remember, Commander McKenzie is the McKenzies are who are now Hannah's parents.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, he lets everybody know, because Commander McKenzie is very,
dark,
a dick and dark-sided. Right. And he lets everybody know that June didn't work alone. I know she didn't. And they all kind of just look at him like, all right, girl, what are you trying to say? You trying to just have another revolution? But awkwardness ensues. Why? Because Commander Spicy White comes in with his new old wife.
Yeah.
Finally debuts her.
Yeah. He's like, look at my homely white woman here by my side. We're perfectly evenly yoked because she too is not with this shit. And we say it without saying it.
Yeah, she's I have a problem, and this is reflective of just American society. When white people know better but don't do better.
Like Nick, he pussy.
Yeah, And with you wanting to marry Eleanor Roosevelt, you know what I mean? Just here, I don't get, because you only married her, which we learn in this episode, they don't take you seriously if you're unwed.
Right.
As a commander. So clearly this is a marriage of convenience and power.
Yeah, very much so. That nigga don't want nobody but that's So June. That's the only person he wants. And I think she knows that too. And I think both of them are doing whatever they need to do to survive. But I'm trying to figure out, Nick clearly knows how to get to the other side. So why the fuck wouldn't he just go and stay?
Weakness.
But what are you, succumbing to? You literally have the opportunity to go over there and just stay.
Because he somehow believes this. I firmly, just because, he's not with it, there's at some intrinsic level, you believe, you drank, the Kool-Aid, and you believe some of this shit. You know what I mean? So I feel like if he was truly sick and he was and tired and over this, he would have left, just like men would do, but they don't. So I say this as one, you know what I mean?
That's
Like
fair.
when we get fed up, we'll eventually do it, but only if it truly inconveniences us. That's why we can't get pregnant.
Good. Although I wish you could.
Child, if that was the case, nope. So, nope. Let's stop the camera. All right, so to switch gears, we're still in Gilead, but we get to the hospital. And this is where I was going to say there's a change in this season where we start to see some of the members of Gilead attempting to, or beginning to realize how fucked up this thing is.
Yeah.
So Lydia goes to see Esther first. And she beats the hell out of her while she's under coma.
Slaps her ass in a hospital bed. Some shit I would do.
Yeah.
Wah.
You can't feel it. Although it is kind of a punk move. It's like punching somebody in
No,
the
it
gut.
is. It is. Or like when they down already, like it is. But Lydia was pissed. And I watched this YouTube video where they kind of broke Lydia's character down. This is obviously from former seasons, but they break Lydia's character down and her background and kind of like the reasoning behind why she is the way that she is. She thinks she's doing good. It is survival mode, but
good.
now I don't know how much it's gonna play out in this season, so spoiler. But they say in the book, I gotta finish the book. They say in the book that Lydia was an integral part of the demise of Gilead. She ends up being a
I'd
mole.
imagine that.
Right? Like you can kind of see it happening, right?
Yeah, because I can tell you, it's not Blaine that's gonna do it, which we all know. Now it's got to be her. She's the only one, and I know they're gonna play her. And they started planting those seeds last season when they brought her back from the train, and that other Martha that she hates. Well, that hates her, but she truly hates. Who stole her job?
The auntie.
She gonna. That's where the seed starts, and I totally see that happening.
Yeah.
But I will say, Ann Dowd was acting in this particular scene.
Baby!
Yeah.
Tears!
Mama walks around the corner to go visit Janine.
Which might be the catalyst to what we're just talking about.
Yes. Because Lydia is praying over her and she's begging for forgiveness, essentially saying, if you let Janine live, I will make a change. I will see to it that your will is done, and, bargaining tactics like you do in the 5 stages of grief.
Like, all I heard was, God, if you get me past this hangover, I will never drink again. That's all I could
I will
do.
never drink 99 apples again.
And I didn't. Or bananas.
Yeah, I switched to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like what Lydia's about to do.
Yeah. Switch to something else.
Yeah, just switch to something else. What I hate about this show is how often they have to go back and forth from Gilead to Canada, because it's a lot of stuff it's essentially 2 timelines you have to follow.
Yes.
Because back in Gilead, they're at the dinner table, and Commander McKenzie, who is very, very sassy, tells Lawrence, nigga, you need a wife. And he's like, I don't want to remarry. I missed my wife, who's no longer here, because she died. And Commander McKenzie's like, well, there's no place for a man in leadership if he doesn't have a wife. So, you see somebody's ears and eyes perk up.
Mm-hmm. She's
Also, while at this dinner table, Mackenzie had some very interesting thoughts about that so offered.
Oh, baby, they were very pointed and and full of hate.
We have to kill June because she's going to kill us for having her black baby.
Yeah. He called her a cancer.
Mm-hmm. Which is so ironic.
Right.
So, and I gotta be honest, Commander McKenzie's wife ain't no spring chicken either. So I don't know why they were so judgy about Spicy White's wife.
Right. Well, because they're sick and they think that 16-year-olds are like, appropriate age for fucking wives.
Just appropriate to have adult relationships, which is so,
it's nasty.
so gross. So, not even back in Toronto, back at the refugee camp, a man shows up.
Tanner.
Tanner. We remember we said at the beginning that this was no men allowed.
Yeah.
So a man shows up and he's like, he keeps saying he's a friend, and every last one of them has had an AK
Uzi,
to the
that
forehead.
doozy. Do you hear me? Every clip came out, every shot, every Mossberg, every baby Glock, every 38, nigga, every piece of heat came out.
Yeah.
And they were like, who are you, penis?
Yeah. What's the password? And he was stuttering galore, okay?
I had no clue. They was like,
Could not.
you're supposed to see the Crimson Roses, motherfucker. Like, it was very, so
very set it off.
Then we just see this small Asian lady run in, and she's like, hold up. This nigga got me here, okay?
Yeah.
Stand down. I repeat, stand down. And they're all still looking at him like, dick. But they let him go.
Yeah. And June witnesses all this, and she's reminded of the kindness and the love that she has for her spicy white baby daddy.
Yeah.
And she tells Tanner, hey, send this message. Tell Blaine to call me.
Yeah.
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 Like, call me, girl.
Yeah.
So, back in Gilead, it's after dinner, and that's where usually secret white meetings happen after dinner.
Yeah.
And so, Mark Tuello and Spicy White Commander talk outside, all while sassy Mackenzie is, eavesdropping. And Lena's like, remember Mark Tuello told Spicy White Commander, hey, be a snitch, do your work, be the mole.
Yeah.
We got you. We got y'all. And of course he was like, no, I can't. Yeah, he was like, no, I can't because I'm weak. I don't have, the strength the sizes of mustard seed compared to that so offered, right? All of a sudden, Commander McKenzie with 3Ks just comes from the shadows and is like, so what was said? I know. I know what
I know.
think is happening. Yes.
If you know what I mean. Yeah.
So,
Commander Moesha.
Yeah. So, Serena then tries to propose marriage to Officer Congenial White Commander, right?
This bitch tries to flirt biblically on some. Takes a powerful woman to be with a powerful man, and he's like, "Your nigga just died," and she's like, And he looks down at her hand, and he's like, "Your nigga should have never done that to you," and she's like, "I know, right? Because let me just hip you. Like, I'm not saying I'm glad he's dead. But, I'm glad he's dead. I don't want him being a father or a baby because he was pussy."
Yeah.
And so their biggest issue with him was not the fact that he got his wife's pinky cut off. It wasn't. Everybody's issue with him was the fact that they all considered him pussy. His wife included. Everybody.
Because he snitched and told everything what was going on down in the Gilead.
Yeah.
And, that's how we got the refugees and all that good stuff.
Exactly.
So, this is where I was like, oh, y'all are going, this is probably the Emmy episode. So, back at the hospital, Auntie Lydia calls Mrs. Putnam. Now, remember, last episode we talked about how the Putnams adopted, well, they weren't adopted, they were given Angela. Actually, they weren't even given Angela.
Legal kidnapping.
Yeah. And Janine is Angela's birth mother. And so Lydia has this idea of like, let me help Janine, like if I bring, because she was like, and when Angela was in the hospital, Janine came and helped her feel better. Maybe we could do the same thing, And so Mrs. Putnam and Angela went and sat by Janine's bedside. And Mrs. Putnam had very, very kind words to say in her own way.
As kind as you can get in a position like this.
Yeah, without her, getting her head cut off. She was explaining, I'm going to make sure I let Angela know how extraordinary her birth mother was. Which
they don't refer to handmaids as birth mothers in Gilead.
Yeah.
And you can see this white lady is all tormented and Jennifer Garner ass about to cry every time you see her. There's an immense amount of like guilt, but also fear that this child is going to take more to Janine than she takes to her because she knows she's not supposed to have her.
And that's the general fear of Gilead in general, which is why they have to brainwash you and do all that stuff, because they realize that people are going to wise up and realize how big of an issue this will be. But, whew. But anywho.
So she brings the baby, and the baby is holding Janine's hand, and, all so forth and so on. And Lydia goes to take her a nap. And what happens? She wakes up, Janine's not in the bed. So she's like, where is she? Where is she? She's out in the courtyard. Like, y'all remember not Flowers in the Attic, Secret Garden, with a little boy that she would take him and she'd wheel him out to the garden and he'd sit there and take it all in. That was Janine.
Oh, yeah. Well, like in Moonlight, when Sharon's mama was
literally, no Moonlight. No, literally no.
Well, no, like remember when she was in the nursing home and they had her, just out there in the garden just looking. But yeah,
I'm sorry. I was like, Lydia did not make her no chicharron, no fucking.
No, not in that not in that regard. No. Although I feel that Lydia, be bumping cats. But I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
No, she doesn't. Remember, she got all her feelings all hurt when that principal from her school and her backstory didn't fall for the pussy.
Exactly,
Remember, she was
which is
smashing
why,
mirrors and shit.
Yeah, I remember that, but I still think, So back in Gilead, right? Serena is actually free.
Yeah.
I missed this part. I don't know how she's not charged with any war crime. I guess because Fred is not there, then she's off the hook. I don't get it.
So, what ends up happening is she chooses to stay in Gilead. And Mark Tuello feels away for a hot second. Because he's like, girl, like, you're free. You don't have to be doing this. And she's like, I want to do this. I want to stay home. And this is when she still thought she was going to be able to get up with Commander Get Out. But Commander Get Out, that's a sneaky motherfucker, and you don't know where he's coming from. I don't like the fact that I still don't know where the fuck he's coming from. I feel like it's just he likes a certain amount of power, but he doesn't necessarily subscribe to this shit. But then also, go ahead.
It's so conflicted because everything centers around him and his wife passing. So it's like, is it grief? Is he doing these things because he doesn't really believe it? Because most of the commanders don't actually love their wives, and Lawrence actually loved his wife. So therefore, he's kind of like on this, I don't want to remarry because A, I don't really respect the love I had. 2, again, it's like Blaine and this whole survival tactic. Like, I'm doing this because it's all I know how to do.
Yeah, but then also, like, he doesn't have to necessarily be doing this.
No.
And I feel like he could very well take himself right on to Canada and be settled in his old man life and enjoy his settings or whatever and surroundings. But I don't know.
Goes back to what I said. They all drink the Kool-Aid and can't get rid of it whatsoever.
But it's obvious that he doesn't subscribe to the biblical aspect of Gilead, right? Because he makes, even his tone is a little mocking. What blessings, praise be. Like, he doesn't really believe that stuff, but he also is not necessarily a good person. So
yeah,
it's just conflicting. But like you said, and it's interesting because while he's the only commander outside of Commander Spicy White who doesn't really fully, we call it Commander Katsopoulos, who doesn't fully really subscribe to this either. He doesn't subscribe to this, yet he loves his wife. And none of the other ones do. But they really subscribe to this shit. So it's very interesting. But after she had made the decision that she wants to stay in Gilead because she thought that he was getting ready to be with the shits, but he led her to the left, which is what he tends to do. They end up calling every time they call her in for a meeting, and they're like, "So bust it." I thought they were about to make her a handmaid and then pass her baby off to another family, and I was like, "Oh, that would have been the okie doke," but they didn't.
Right, because that would have been juicy, and then they would have got Serena out, and then her and June would have had it at like, I'm just like you. Was like, no, bitch, you're not.
No, you're not. And I would have loved to see that, but I think they knew that was going to be too obvious. So what they did was they told her, officially, unofficially, we know your pinky was chopped off for reading, but actually you're a smart bitch. And you're well-spoken. So we need you and your talents as an unofficial representative of Gilead. And she was like, but I can't stay here. And they're like, no, girl, like, you don't have no man. You are not, they said, we don't have the infrastructure for a woman like you. So
an unusual woman, and we don't have
that
infrastructure.
They were like, so you're gonna have to go live in Canada, but you're still gonna rep us. And she's like, I don't like that, but I don't have a say because I'm a woman in Gilead. So she takes it and she's like, all right, so these are my these are my stipulations. I need security detail. I need wah wah wah. I need a tennis bracelet. I need $4,000. I need an apartment. You know, just laid out the shit that she wants from them. And they're like, okay, great, we'll get it for you, but you're gonna go live in Canada. Ta-ta. So that's where, and then Tuello made me laugh because when she got on that plane, he was like, change of heart. But that's how Serena ended up back in Canada.
Yeah, but I just don't know how she's free, like, legally. That's what I'm trying to understand. I guess that's going to happen in next episode.
I think that's the next
because
episode, yeah.
I do see in the previews for next week, or this week, today or tomorrow, whenever this comes out, I see that she's back in Canada and they discuss how she's free, so.
Yeah.
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 Well, that concludes today's recap of White Roots.
We also forgot, June has a conversation with Commander Katsopoulos. And
oh, right. Spicy White
So
and June talk. They have like a, you know, hello, can I please speak to Michael?
Yeah. And he's like, okay, so Busset, how's our baby? She's great. All right, so this is what's going on with Black Hannah. She good. She's strong. She's just like you. Wah, wah, wah. She's like, okay, bet, cool. I need you to look out for her. I need you to switch your post to where she at, because I need you to make sure she gonna be good. By the way, why was she wearing purple? He's like, ooh, that's wife preparation colors. Isn't that baby like 12 at this point?
Just about, yeah.
But she is already being prepared to be a wife. She's getting ready to be moved to a new school that teaches her how to be a wife, which is crazy.
Yes, but there's a semblance of relief because she's being sent to a school and not to the colony.
Right, or to be a handmaid. So
yeah, that's to be a handmaid in the colonies. Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, I need you to look out for her and this, that, and the third. And he's like, yeah, girl. So I'm pussy and I'm not gonna be able to talk to you for a while. I'll do what I can, but I can't make no promises. Bang.
You know. And you know, that so offered was, you know, she was more excited to hear from her spicy white baby daddy than about Black Hannah.
Mm-hmm. So then Serena gets off the plane. She on her way to the prison telly, and, you know, always watching her back because she's scared. That's where which is the problem of all white people. All of their chaos and negativity of history and years and so forth and so on, rooted in fear. And so she's scared, as she should be, because why? They get caught in some traffic. There's some sort of barrier up ahead, and all of a sudden June shows up on the side of her town car, bangs on the glass, and screams through the window, "Don't you touch my fucking daughter again." And you can see the fear. So that little smug look that they ended with on the last episode, they ended with her fearful ass white woman face.
Yeah. She was motherfucker shook.
Boots.
June came at her with the spirit of Will Smith. It was like, don't keep my daughter's name out your fucking mouth.
Not the spirit of... Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And that was the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, more to come. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Yeah.